If you're a man over 60 and you've noticed your energy slipping, your drive fading, or your body not responding like it used to, you're not alone. And more importantly, it might not be aging that's to blame. I'm Dr. Tate with Tranquiliv Health Seniors, and after working with men for over 3 decades, I can tell you this. What you're experiencing might be a sign of something very fixable. In fact, it may come down to 3 key vitamins your body is silently missing, nutrients that directly affect your blood flow, stamina, and hormone balance. I know how frustrating it can be. You want to feel strong again. You want to wake up with energy, clarity, and the ability to be intimate without hesitation, but your body doesn't seem to cooperate. The good news is, in many cases, the fix doesn't start with expensive prescriptions or complicated hormone treatments. It starts with nutrition, and more specifically, 3 essential vitamins that can work together to restore your natural vitality. Now, before we dive in, let me make one thing clear. This isn't about some overnight miracle. It's about understanding what your body truly needs at this stage of life and giving it the support it deserves. When you get these 3 nutrients in balance, I've seen men completely transform, not into their 30-year-old selves, but into stronger, sharper, and more confident versions of who they are today. So stay with me, because over the next few minutes, we're going to cover each vitamin, how it works, why it matters, and most importantly, how to get it into your system in a way your body can actually use. I'll also explain the #1 mistake most men make with supplements that ends up doing more harm than good, and how to avoid it. By the end of this video, you'll have a daily plan you can follow without stress, guesswork, or gimmicks. Let's begin with the first vitamin, the one that sets everything in motion, vitamin D, the circulation charger. Vitamin D isn't just something your doctor checks during your yearly physical. For men over 60, it's one of the most important keys to restoring healthy blood flow and sexual performance. You see, vitamin D acts like a spark plug in your vascular system. It supports the release of nitric oxide, which helps your blood vessels relax and open up, allowing oxygen-rich blood to flow more easily to your muscles, brain, and yes, to the parts in your body responsible for intimacy. Now, here's what most men don't realize. As you get older, your ability to produce and absorb vitamin D drops sharply. Even if you spend time in the sun, it may not be enough. Your skin thins, your liver and kidneys become less efficient at converting sunlight into usable D, and before you know it, you're running low without even knowing it. This low level of D can lead to poor circulation, sluggish energy, and even a decline in testosterone. I had a patient named Earl, 71 years old, who came in complaining of low stamina, joint pain, and trouble performing in the bedroom. His blood work showed critically low vitamin D levels. Within a few weeks of targeted supplementation and moderate sun exposure, he told me he felt 10 years younger. His walks were longer, his confidence was back, and more importantly, his connection with his wife had improved, something he hadn't expected. So how do you boost your vitamin D safely? Ideally, you want 15 to 30 minutes of early morning sunlight each day, but if that's not realistic, a high-quality D3 supplement is your best bet. Avoid the D2 version. It's less effective and harder for your body to convert. Look for D3 combined with a healthy fat source, like fish oil or olive oil, for better absorption. And always pair it with a meal, not on an empty stomach. Now, even with healthy blood flow, your body still needs fuel. That's where our second powerhouse vitamin comes in. Vitamin B12, the energy activator. Vitamin B12 plays a critical role in turning the food you eat into energy your body can use. It supports nerve health, red blood cell production, and even brain function. But here's the kicker. As you get older, your stomach produces less acid, and that acid is needed to extract B12 from food. So even if you eat meat, eggs, or dairy, you might not be absorbing enough. I once met a man named Lionel, 69, a retired teacher who said he felt like his body had a dimmer switch turned halfway down. He wasn't depressed, but he wasn't excited either. He described his life as gray. We checked his B12, and sure enough, it was well below optimal. We switched him to a methylcobalamin-based B12 supplement, the most absorbable form, and within weeks his energy, focus, and even his mood began to shift. He described it as color coming back into the picture. Low B12 doesn't just cause tiredness, It affects memory, alertness, and your ability to stay present, all things that matter whether you're at the gym, at dinner, or in the bedroom. You want a form of B12 that your body can use immediately. Skip cyanocobalamin. It's cheaper, but much harder to convert. Look for methylcobalamin or hydroxycobalamin, and if your levels are very low, ask your doctor about injections to jumpstart absorption. Now we've talked about circulation and energy, but what about your foundation, your hormonal health, your immune system, your internal protection? That's where our third vitamin enters the picture, vitamin E, the cellular defender. Vitamin E is often overlooked, but it's one of the most important vitamins for men's health, especially as the years go on. It's a powerful antioxidant, which means it helps protect your cells from damage, including the delicate cells in your blood vessels, testicles, and heart. It also supports healthy testosterone levels by reducing oxidative stress, one of the silent killers of male hormone production. Let me tell you about Ronald, a 73-year-old former engineer who ate clean, exercised regularly, and still felt like something was missing. He wasn't getting the same results from his workouts, his libido was fading, and he said he felt out of sync. Blood tests showed borderline low testosterone and elevated inflammation markers. We added natural, food-based vitamin E into his diet, almonds, sunflower seeds, olive oil, and a gentle supplement blend, and within 2 months his markers improved, and so did his mood, drive, and recovery. Vitamin E keeps your blood vessels flexible, helps your body produce testosterone, and protects your cells from premature aging. The best sources are whole foods, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, but if your diet is limited or if inflammation is already high, a supplement might be necessary. Look for mixed tocopherols on the label, not just DL-alpha tocopherol, which is synthetic and less effective. Now let's talk about the real magic. What happens when you combine these 3 nutrients in the right way? The vitamin D helps your blood vessels open, vitamin B12 gives your body the fuel to pump that blood, and vitamin E keeps everything protected and running smoothly. I call this the vitality trifecta: circulation, energy, and hormone support all working in sync. When your body is aligned like this, you don't just function better, you feel better. You think sharper, move stronger, sleep deeper, and you show up more fully in your relationships. You begin to feel like yourself again, not a version of your younger self, but a more grounded, vital version of the man you are today.
Now, here's the part most men never hear. Even when they do start taking these vitamins, they're often doing it wrong. They're buying low-quality products, taking them inconsistently, or combining them with other supplements that actually block absorption. And then they wonder why nothing's changing. It's not their fault. Supplement companies aren't always transparent, and most doctors don't take the time to explain how these nutrients actually work together. But once you understand the proper way to use them, everything shifts. Let's break it down with some real talk. The number one mistake I see men over 60 make is thinking that just taking something is enough. They grab a cheap multivitamin from the store shelf, toss it into their morning coffee routine, and hope for the best. But here's the truth. Not all vitamins are created equal, not even close. Think about this. Would you put low-grade fuel in a classic car and expect it to run like new? Of course not. Your body deserves the same level of care. The form, quality, and timing of the vitamins you take determine whether they help you or end up flushed down the drain. For instance, with vitamin B12, most over-the-counter brands use a form called cyanocobalamin, which is hard for older bodies to absorb and use. What you want instead is methylcobalamin. It's bioavailable, which means your body recognizes and uses it immediately. The difference in how you feel can be night and day. The same goes for vitamin D. There are 2 main forms, D2 and D3. D2 is cheaper and less effective. D3 is what your body naturally produces when exposed to sunlight, and it's far more efficient at raising and maintaining healthy blood levels. If you're supplementing, always choose D3. And with vitamin E, it gets even trickier. Many low-cost supplements only use a synthetic form called D-alpha tocopherol, which doesn't offer the full benefit of natural vitamin E. What your body truly needs is a blend of mixed tocopherols. This is the form that delivers real protection to your blood vessels, heart, and hormone system. Beyond quality, there's the issue of consistency. Your body needs steady, predictable input to create long-term change. Taking your vitamins once a week or only when you feel tired just won't cut it. You need to build a rhythm, a routine that makes taking care of yourself automatic. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 66-year-old small business owner. He came in feeling foggy, low energy, and emotionally disconnected. He'd tried supplements before, but only sporadically and often switched brands every few weeks. We put him on a consistent plan, the right forms of D3, methylated B12, and mixed tocopherol E, all taken daily with food. Within a month, he came back looking more alive, brighter eyes, better posture, and a renewed energy that was obvious to everyone around him. He said, "Doc, I didn't change my whole life. I just finally did it right." That's the difference between trying harder and trying smarter. You don't need more effort. You need a better plan. And that's exactly what I want to give you next. A realistic daily routine that any man can follow, no matter how busy or tired you feel. No extreme diets, no gym memberships. Just simple steps that support your body where it needs it most. Let's build your daily vitality routine. Start your morning with a tall glass of water. Hydration first thing in the morning helps your body absorb nutrients more effectively. Then, take your B12 supplement with a protein-rich breakfast, something like eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie. This helps the vitamin absorb and gives your body lasting fuel for the day ahead. If you're getting sunlight, take a 15-minute walk outdoors sometime in the morning. Exposing your arms and face to natural light, even briefly, can stimulate natural vitamin D production. If sunlight isn't available, say it's winter, you live in a cloudy area, or you're mostly indoors, then take a D3 supplement with your first meal. At lunch or dinner, add in healthy fats, a handful of almonds, a spoonful of olive oil, or a serving of avocado. This helps your body absorb vitamin E more efficiently. If you're taking an E supplement, this is when to do it, during a meal that contains fat. And finally, make movement part of your day. Not intense workouts, but regular, steady movement. Walk after meals, stretch in the afternoon. Motion supports circulation, and circulation supports everything else. These habits, stacked together, create the foundation for vitality. Now, a lot of men ask me, Dr. Tate, is that really enough? And the answer is yes, if you're consistent and intentional. These small daily actions do something powerful. They remind your body that it's supported, that it's safe to heal, to recharge, and to come back online in ways you might not have expected. I had a patient, Gerald, who told me, I didn't realize how far I drifted from myself until I started feeling like me again. That hit me, because that's what this is really about. It's not just energy or performance, it's about identity. Feeling like the man you've always been, strong, present, connected. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. You've got 3 vitamins that support your blood flow, energy, and hormones. You've got a daily rhythm that builds a solid foundation. But maybe you're wondering, what does this look like over time? What kind of results can you actually expect if you stick to this? I'll tell you. In the first few weeks, most men report better sleep, steadier energy, and a sense of mental clarity they hadn't felt in years. In the following weeks, libido returns, blood flow improves, and that feeling of being in your own body, in control, starts to come back. For some, it's subtle. For others, it's dramatic. But in nearly every case, the shift is real. That said, this is not a magic pill. It's not overnight. But it is powerful. When you feel your body with what it needs, when you stop making the same mistakes most people make, and when you stay consistent, the results speak for themselves. Now, let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but almost all of them feel: frustration. You eat decently, you try to stay active, and you still feel off. Maybe you've even told yourself, this is just how getting older feels. But let me tell you, that's not the whole truth. Aging doesn't mean surrendering your strength, your clarity, or your ability to connect. It means your body needs smarter support, not more pills, but better inputs. The real shift happens when you stop blaming yourself or your age and start listening to what your body's been trying to tell you. Fatigue, fog, low drive, those aren't random. They're signals. Signals that something essential is missing. And in many cases, those signals begin to fade as soon as you start replenishing the right nutrients. There's no shame in needing help. I've sat across from high-performing men, pilots, CEOs, military veterans. All of them used to solving problems, but confused about why their energy and intimacy were fading. Once we dialed in these 3 vitamins, they came back stronger, not just physically, but emotionally too. Because when your body feels right, your confidence follows. And that confidence impacts everything: your relationships, your mood, your motivation to take care of yourself. Now, let's address a few common questions I get from men when they first hear about these vitamins. Question 1. Can I just get all of this from food? Great question. The answer is yes, in theory, but in reality, it's a lot harder. As we age, our absorption rates drop. Your stomach becomes less efficient, your liver and kidneys don't process nutrients the same way, and even if you eat well, your body might still be coming up short. On top of that, modern food is less nutrient dense than it used to be. Farming practices, soil depletion, and processing strip out many of the vitamins our bodies rely on. That's why supplementation is often not just helpful, but necessary, especially with vitamin D and B12, which are the two most common deficiencies I see in men over 60. Question 2. Is it too late to start? Absolutely not. I don't care if you're 62 or 82. As long as you're breathing, your body is capable of improvement. I've had patients in their late 70s regain strength, mental sharpness, and a renewed desire for life, all from getting their nutrient foundation back in place. One man named Harold came to see me at 78. He said, "I'm not trying to run marathon stock. I just want to feel like myself again." We started him on a clean daily supplement plan: D3 with breakfast, methylated B12 mid-morning, and vitamin E in the evening with a fat-rich meal. Within 2 months, Harold told me he felt more focused, less anxious, and yes, he and his wife were closer than they'd been in years. He didn't want youth, he wanted vitality, and he got it. Question 3. Is this safe with my medications? That's a smart question. The 3 vitamins we're discussing today are generally very safe, even for men on blood pressure drugs, cholesterol drugs, or diabetes treatments. That said, if you're taking prescriptions, always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement, especially fat-soluble ones like vitamin D and E. You want to avoid overlap or excessive intake. A simple blood test can help guide your dosage. Now let's look at how these vitamins affect more than just physical performance. Let's talk about mood, memory, and emotional connection. These are often the unspoken casualties of aging. You're not just tired, you're less excited. You're not just forgetful, you feel disconnected. And when that happens, even the people closest to you can feel it. Here's where vitamin B12 shines. Low B12 is strongly linked to depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. If you've been feeling dull, mentally cloudy, or withdrawn, low B12 might be playing a role. And when you correct that deficiency, things shift. Not just chemically, but emotionally. You become more present, more engaged. You listen better, you laugh more, and intimacy stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like connection again. And vitamin E? Its antioxidant effects protect your brain and nervous system. Less inflammation means better signaling between your mind and your body. You think more clearly, your muscles respond faster, and your recovery improves, both physically and emotionally. So when you hear someone say, "It's just a vitamin," understand this. It's never just a vitamin. These are the raw materials your body uses to regulate blood pressure, oxygen levels, testosterone, nerve function, and even your emotions. Ignoring them is like running a machine without oil. Eventually, something breaks. But when you restore what's missing, things start working again. Let's talk now about something even more important than the vitamins themselves: your mindset. Because here's the truth. The best nutrition in the world won't work if you don't believe it's worth doing. I've worked with men who had all the right tools, the right guidance, even supportive families, but they didn't believe change was possible, so they didn't stick with it. On the flip side, I've seen men start small, stay steady, and end up feeling better at 65 than they did at 50. The difference? And mindset of ownership. Ownership doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean pretending to be invincible. It means making the choice every day to show up for your body, to give it what it needs, to stop waiting for permission to feel better and take action, even if it's just one step at a time. And let me be clear, this isn't about vanity. This is about quality of life. It's about having the energy to take your grandkids to the park, the strength to travel with your partner, the clarity to make good decisions, and the confidence to be close without second-guessing yourself. That matters. You matter. So, how do you put this all into motion? Let's revisit and simplify the daily routine we've built together so far. You don't need 20 supplements or some trendy protocol. You just need a few key habits that create a foundation of strength. Here's what it can look like. Wake up and drink a tall glass of water to rehydrate after sleep. Eat a protein-rich breakfast, eggs, oats with nuts, Greek yogurt, and take your methylated B12 with this meal. If you can, get 10 to 15 minutes of natural sunlight during your morning walk. If sunlight isn't possible, take your vitamin D3 supplement with your breakfast or lunch, ideally with some fat like avocado, olive oil, or nuts. Later in the day, include vitamin E either through whole foods like sunflower seeds, almonds, or spinach, or through a mixed tocopherol supplement, again taken with a fat-containing meal. Keep moving. Even light walking after meals supports digestion and circulation. This routine takes less than 20 minutes a day, total, and yet I've seen it help men restore their sense of control, increase energy, improve intimacy, and rekindle parts of their life they thought were gone. Now, let's answer one last big question. How long does it take to see results? Some men notice changes in a few days. Better sleep, clearer thinking, steadier energy. For others, it may take 2 to 4 weeks before the full effects set in. It depends on your starting point, your consistency, and your overall health. But in nearly every case, these vitamins are building something. They're laying down the bricks for stronger blood vessels, more resilient hormone systems, sharper cognition, and more responsive energy. And over time, the compound effect kicks in. What started as small daily choices builds into long-term momentum. You'll wake up one morning, stand in front of the mirror, and realize this is working. You'll feel it in your posture, your mindset, and the way you respond to the world around you. One of my patients, Carl, 70 years old, told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I thought the best parts of life were behind me. Now I realize they were just waiting for me to show up again." And that's what this is all about, showing up for yourself again. Not chasing youth, but reclaiming vitality in a way that's honest, sustainable, and deeply rewarding. If you're still with me, then you've already done something powerful. You've invested your time and your attention. That tells me you care about your health, about your future, and about being the kind of man who doesn't give up when things get hard. That alone sets you apart. But now comes the most important part, what you do next. The truth is, most men over 60 have been told, directly or indirectly, that decline is inevitable, that energy fades, desire fades, strength fades. And sure, aging brings changes, that's a fact. But those changes don't have to mean surrender. They don't have to mean giving up the things that make life rich and connected. In fact, what I've seen in my 30 years of working with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s is that this chapter of life can be the most powerful yet. Not because you're doing the same things you did at 30, but because you're doing new things with wisdom, intention, and a deeper understanding of what really matters. When you support your circulation, energy, and hormones, when you give your body the right forms of vitamin D, B12, and E consistently and correctly, you create the biological environment for that vitality to return. But more than that, when you decide you're still worth the effort, when you prioritize your strength, your intimacy, your joy, something shifts. You don't just feel better, you start living better. And that's where I want to leave you today, with a challenge and an encouragement. The challenge is simple. Don't just listen to this message, act on it. Build your routine, commit to consistency, choose quality over shortcuts, and give yourself 30 days of focused attention. Your body is still capable of change if you give it a reason to. The encouragement is this: it's not too late. You're not too far gone. And you are absolutely still the man your life needs you to be. Your energy, your confidence, your closeness, they're still in you. Let's bring them back, one step at a time. Take care of yourself. You've got this.